Welcome to another episode of The Orange Report with Kira Davis. I am your host, Kira Davis, and this is all the news and views you can use from around California, Orange County, and America, because California news is America news, and boy, is it ever today. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to encourage you to go ahead and get in these chat rooms wherever you're seeing this. If you just drop a message in the chat, I will see it. Let me just pull it up here. Okay. We've got a lot to talk about today, especially when it comes to California. It's together here. Was Nerd Prom this past weekend. So just in case some of you are watching in the future, if it's future Kira watching this back, it was Nerd Prom this weekend. This was the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and it was a big deal because Trump was going, and he hasn't gone in many years for obvious reasons. One of the reasons is that when he goes, even though it's supposed to be a lighthearted event, typically led by a comedian, meant to bring together these two very important facets of society, our administrative, our executive office, and the free press, it has turned into a bash Trump festival, and not in the lighthearted way either that Obama got or even Bush got. It has turned into something a lot more sinister. And, after a while, Trump said, why would I go? Why would I go? These people have been horrible to me, to my family. They lie. They call us Nazis, fascists. They use the moment as sort of, they're like, this is my one moment to speak truth to power, instead of using it for what it's supposed to be, a celebration of the free press and really the American people. And so he decided, why would I subject myself to that? It's never funny. It's never fun. And President Trump is a pretty easygoing guy. I think when he's like fairly self-deprecating for a guy who's constantly winning and really good at his job, and it has more money than God, he's fairly self-deprecating, certainly when he doesn't have to be. He's a guy who can take a joke. He's a guy who likes a good joke. But this is anything but. So he decides to go back on Friday night. We're recording this on Monday, April 27th. By the way, happy birthday to my producer and my son, Scott. Scotty, happy birthday. He's 24 years old today. Big boy. I don't know when I got this old. It's funny how when you have kids, they keep getting older and you just keep staying the same age. It's so weird. Anyway, so President Trump, it's Monday, and President Trump decided to go on Friday. And what happens? A psycho tries to kill him. Why? Because we have an entire media class, a media complex that is dedicating to ginning up hysterics and accusing Trump of being a fascist every single day. It's what they put out into the ether every single day. Caroline Leavitt came out of maternity leave. She was supposed to go on maternity leave on Friday, came out today to run I guess this is going to be her last press conference, but for obvious reasons, she wanted to run this presser and said, this is what you people in the mainstream media pitch every single day to the American people. So obviously not every American is murderous, but the murderous Americans out there are the ones who pick up on that, read that constant feeding. And you know what? It's not just the murderous Americans. Let me pull I have so much to say. I should have made like an outline, because there are so many layers to this. We are so deep into this. This is a real problem. This is attempt number 3 that we know of on Trump's life. And this can be directly attributed to the media, because they are creating an entire population of Americans that are stewing in rage and fear, and who genuinely think that this country is falling into fascism, even though we just had an election. What do they expect people to do with a constant, steady stream of Trump's a fascist, Trump's a fascist, Trump's a fascist? And then it's not even just the CNN talking heads, the Brian Stelters of the world, the ABC George Stephanopoulos of the world. But then you have celebrities, or you have the idiots on The View. They get up there every day, or trans celebrities or gay celebrities. They take the mic every day and they say, you hear them say this every day. It's a dangerous time to be a trans person. Trans people are getting killed in the streets. You hear that every day as if that is something that is real. And it's just something that people feel. But they say it as though President Trump is sending Gestapo out house by house, knocking on doors to pull trans people out of their beds and murder them. They say it without challenge. They say it on national TV programs. They say it on national news programs, ostensibly programs that are dedicated to information and intelligence and intelligent dialogue. And these people the people that were in that room, they pride themselves on being purveyors of information and curious people and serious journalists. And yet people come on their shows every day and say shit like that, and they never get challenged. And do you know why they never get challenged? Because all those people think that too. They are the part of this problem. They are the problem. And it's why they can't, even after they were the victims on Friday night. Man, they went so hard in the fascist paint for Trump. They went so hard after Trump on this fascist Hitler stuff that they made them their own selves the victims. Think about that. That's how hard they've gone on this. They managed to make their own selves the victims. And then even after being the victims, they still can't look at this logically. They still can't say, oh my gosh, we almost got our own selves killed. Maybe we need to dial it down. They're still out there today saying, well, we haven't said anything wrong. You know, we're just reporting on what Trump is. And we're not saying that Trump is Hitler, but we are just saying that some of the things he's been doing will lead us to fascism, lead us to Hitler-esque outcomes. Or the flip side is it was all staged, as if. I mean, just those people you cannot help. They are insane. I have seen my own friends and family members on Facebook talking about this. And you know what? I'm happy to call them insane. I'm happy to tell them they are insane. They are absolutely insane, and they are absolutely committed to that narrative. So there's nothing you can do to change their minds. You should tell them the truth because they're not getting the truth, right? So feel free to pop in on those threads and drop the truth, but don't stay to argue because you cannot help them. The best thing you can do is present them the information and leave. They don't want to learn. They don't want to learn. Obama, what was one of his first tweets on Friday? We don't know the motive. We immediately knew the motive. We knew the motive immediately. Immediately. We don't know the motive, but we don't condone political violence in any respect. He knows the motive. And that was the Democrat, the line from every AOC came out, and we don't know the motive. I'm glad the president's safe. Why? Why are you glad the president's safe? You've been calling him a fascist for years. You've been saying that he's going to destroy this country. You've been telling people to get out in the streets and cause trouble. Why are you glad that he's safe? What makes you glad that he's safe? No, they can't admit that there's a motive because the motive is exactly what they want. The motive is to kill Trump, and that's what they want. And they say it every day. And it's not just the crazy people that say they're all crazy, but it's not just the crazy people. It's the people that we give microphones to and awards to. It's all of them. And it's all every single day. Trump's a fascist. Trump's a racist. Trump's a bigot. Trump's a rapist. Trump's a pedophile. Trump's Hitler. Every single day. When you tell crazy people that you are now half the population is medicated, you tell all these, and then half of those are on hormones that they shouldn't be on. They're crazy. We've literally made them crazy. And then you tell them every single day that they are on the brink of certain death. By the way, everybody, they give those messages while at the same time telling you to disarm yourselves. Trump's a racist. You know what Trump's a racist. He wants to bring back slavery. By the way, Black people, disarm yourselves. Like, okay, I guess if Trump's Gestapo does come into this house for this Black family, I know who I can't count on to help me. It's certainly progressive liberals. They don't have the means or the will. They're happy for us all to be led to slaughter, but they want President Trump to lead the way. They are insane. And we need to stop talking about that. I do not believe there's persuasion for the other side right now. I do not believe it. They are lost and they want to be lost. We just have to beat them. And the good news is I think we can beat them. The good news is I think these people are the minority, but because they are the majority in the mainstream press, it makes it sound like their point of view is the majority. And it's not. And I think we proved that in 2024. Let's read this I'm going to read this manifesto. It's going around. I generally choose not to read these things because I don't think it's helpful. We have a policy of keeping the names out of public, but I just think this has gone so far and we really need to know a lot more about this man and where he came from. Something's been activated too. I'll put a pin in that. Hopefully I'll get back to it. All right, let's read this manifesto. Mario Naffel posted it. Gunman Cole Allen has the manifesto. Here it is. This is his full manifesto. Hello, everybody. So I may not, very cheerful for a murderer. So I may have given a lot of people a surprise today. Let me start off by apologizing to everyone whose trust I abused. I apologize to my parents for saying I had an interview without specifying it was for Most Wanted. He's funny. I apologize to my colleagues and students. He's a teacher here in California. We're not sending our best to our children, everybody. I apologize to my colleagues and students for saying I had a personal emergency. By the time anyone reads this, I probably most certainly do need to go to the ER, but can hardly call that not a self-inflicted status. In his right mind, I apologize to everyone who was abused or murdered before this, to all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this, to all who may still suffer regardless of my success or failure. Hero complex. Where does that come from? That comes from Democrats like Maxine Waters telling them, don't give them any peace. Meet them in the streets. Find them. Attack them. AOC. Meet them in the streets. Don't give them any peace. BLM, all the BLM activists. We didn't arrest those people for bothering people while they were sitting there eating lunch, eating dinner in an outdoor cafe, barging into places, basically holding people hostage, making them kneel or making them, pledge allegiance to Black Lives Matter or apologize for being white. We aired it and we didn't on the right, but the left, they barely talked about it and no one punished it. And now here we are. He goes on, I don't expect forgiveness, but if I could have seen any other way to get this close, I would have taken it. Again, my sincere apologies. On why I did any of this, I am a citizen of the United States. What my representatives do reflect on me. I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and a traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. And then Trump had to do an interview with ABC last night. What's her face? I can't even think of her name right now. And Nora, whatever. And she had the nerve to read this as if it were some kind of factual statement. I mean, again, they didn't read the manifesto of the Nashville trans shooter. They didn't read that, but she read this to the sitting president. A statement that accuses him of being a pedophile, and she knows damn well that that's not true. And she read it out loud just to see his reaction and get him on record. And so, of course, he said that's disgusting. But why does that child think this? Why does that young man think this? Because every day, people like Nora, people at ABC, the ladies of The View, people at CBS, people at CNN, every day, their anchors don't use this language because they don't want to get sued. But they have guests on that use this language every single day and they let it stand. why does anyone think Trump is a pedophile? There's literally no, like, that's never been a thing, but it's just a label that someone put on there because Epstein. Meanwhile, there's actual pedophiles in Congress right now. Actual pedophiles, who are running activist groups, trans activist groups right now that caucus with Democrats and support Democrats. Y'all got nothing to say about them. Why did this man think Trump's a rapist and a pedophile? There's no proof that he's a rapist, and there's no proof that he's a pedophile. The left-wing news media says that every single damn day. Well, to be completely honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I've had to do something about it. While I'm discussing this, I'll also go over my expected rules of engagement, probably in a terrible format, but I'm not military, so too bad. I mean, he sounds lucid. He does not sound crazy. And I've read a number of these things by now. Unfortunately, too many of them have come after attempts on conservative lives. Administration officials, not including Mr. Patel, they are targets prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. Secret Service, they are targets only if necessary and to be incapacitated non-lethally as possible. AKA, I hope they're wearing body armor because center mass with gunshots messes people up who aren't. Well, they were, and he did hit center mass. Thankfully, that man survived. Hotel security, not targets if at all possible, unless they shoot at me. Capitol Police, same as hotel security. National Guard, same as hotel security. Hotel employees, not targets at all. Guests, not targets at all. In order to minimize casualties, I will also be using buckshot rather than slugs, less penetration through walls. I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary, on the basis that most people chose to attend a speech by a pedophile, rapist, and traitor, and are thus complicit. By the way, go find Don Lemon's video from a couple of hours before the event. And he's in a car talking about, what did he say? He says exactly what this guy says here. You shouldn't be. Shame on everybody who showed up, everyone in the mainstream media. You're normalizing this. Don't normalize a pedophile and a rapist and a fascist. Don Lemon said that right before someone tried to go in there and kill Donald Trump for being a pedophile and a rapist. Don't tell me this isn't what they want. It's what all of them want. It's what all of them wanted. And if the result of Saturday had been President Trump's death, all of them would be celebrating today. All of them, even the people in that room. And they would have said, well, I had to take, the risk of a few bullets in order to save America. They would all be saying that today. All of them would. Rebuttals to objections. All right. So he's already forming his arguments. As a Christian, you should turn the other cheek. Rebuttal, turning the other cheek is when you yourself are oppressed. I am not the person raped in a detention camp. I'm not the fisherman executed without trial. I'm not a school kid blown up or a child starved or a teenage girl abused by the many criminals in this administration. Again, where is he getting this news? Where is that coming from? Turning the other cheek when someone else is oppressed is not Christian behavior. It is complicity in the oppressor's crime. That you learn that at school. This man was a teacher here in California, and that's the line of the teachers union. That is their official line, that this is who Trump is. And they do no king's walkouts. They teach the kids that Trump's a fascist. They teach the kids that Trump's a pedophile. They teach this. The California Teachers Union supports this language. And this is what some individual teachers even have been teaching inside their own classrooms to kindergarten students. This is where he gets this. The language of oppressor and oppressed. And also, just remember, all of these people always count themselves as not in the oppressed class. They think they are the white knights, the heroes for the people that they imagine are being oppressed because that's what they see on the news. They don't know those people because no one knows any of those people. The people that they think are being oppressed when they go visit them on Skid Row or in these illegal migrant housing complexes that are just out of control and chaotic. They don't think of those people as the oppressed. They see the real situation. They go, oh, well, it's not them. It's the other people. It's just the people who just came here for a better life. Rebuttal. Oh, objection number 2. This is not a convenient time for you to do this. Rebuttal. I need whoever thinks this way to take a couple of minutes and realize that the world isn't about them. Do you think that when I see someone raped or murdered or abused, again, where I should walk on by because it would be inconvenient for people who aren't the victims? And yet this is what Democrats do. I can't believe I'm arguing with this manifesto. I'm not arguing with it, but I'm just making some points here. This is what Democrats do in the face of children like Jocelyn Nungari or Laken Riley, Irina Karutsky, right? They just no compassion, no love, no care for them. Don't give a shit about them. This was the best timing and chance of success I could come up with. This is something that the Secret Service and Homeland Security are really going to have to think about. Objection number 3, you didn't get them all. Rebuttal, got to start somewhere. Objection 4, as a half black, half white person, you shouldn't be the one doing this. Rebuttal, I don't see anyone else picking up the slack. Recall that Maxine Waters said, go get these people in the streets. Don't give them any peace. Objection 5, yield unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Rebuttal, the United States of America are ruled by the law, not by one or several people. Insofar as representatives and judges do not follow the law, no one is required to yield them anything so unlawfully ordered. I would also like to extend my appreciation to a great many people, since I will not likely be able to talk with them again unless the Secret Service is astoundingly incompetent. Thank you to my family, both personal and church, for your love over these 31 years. Thank you to my friends for your companionship. Thank you to my colleagues over many jobs for your positivity and professionalism. Thank you to my students for your enthusiasm and love of learning. That's chilling. That's chilling. Thank you to the many acquaintances I've met in person and online for short interactions and long-term relationships. For your perspectives and inspiration, thank you all for everything. Sincerely, Cold Force, friendly federal assassin, Alan. P.S. Okay, now that all the sappy stuff is done, what the hell is the Secret Service doing? Sorry, gonna rant here a bit and drop the formal tone. Like, I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got, who knows, maybe they're pranking me, is nothing. No damn security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event. Like, the one thing I immediately noticed walking into the hotel is a sense of arrogance. I walk in with multiple weapons and not a single person there considers the possibility that I could be a threat. The security at the event is all outside, focused on protesters and current arrivals, because apparently no one thought about what happens if someone checks in the day before. Like, this level of incompetence is insane, and I very sincerely hope it's corrected by the time this country gets actual competent leadership again. Like, if I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought a damn Medusa in here and no one would have noticed. Actually insane. I don't know what a Medusa is. M-A-Deuce? I guess it's a gun. Oh, and if anyone is curious, is how doing something like this feels, it's awful. I want to throw up. I want to cry for all the things I wanted to do and never will. For all the people whose trust this betrays. I experience rage thinking about everything this administration has done. Can't really recommend it. Stay in school, kids. Actually, you know what? Thank you. We're done with that. That's the end. Get your kid out of public school. Get your kids out of public school. Don't stay in school. Don't stay in school after that. This young man has been brainwashed by the media to believe that there was no other option, that Trump is a fascist. He's going to take this entire country down with him. And no such thing is happening anywhere. The media has been absolutely abhorrent and completely complicit in this culture of violence. And Democrats have completely lost their minds. There's no one to save over there. And I don't have to be nice to them anymore. I don't have to be nice about it anymore. And you shouldn't either. And if you want the violence to stop, then you have to tell the truth. Now, you can choose to do that without violence, and you should. And you can choose to do that without being antagonistic, and you should. But this isn't our fault. It's not our fault. We didn't start this. But now we are, and I've been saying this since election night 2024, and y'all don't want to believe me. We're at war. This is war. That's a soldier. That was a soldier right there, willing to give his life for a cause that he can't even really identify. Nothing's happened to him. Nothing's at stake for him, right? When our founding fathers went to the mat for this country, to establish this country, it was their livelihoods, their family, their lives that were at stake. None of that is in this manifesto. It's this made-up boogeyman. He made himself a soldier. And the media just continues this narrative, and they've made themselves the victim. That's how hard they've gone after this ridiculous narrative. And it doesn't stop until people start telling the truth. Democrats are sick. The Democrat Party is sick. It is not an American party anymore. It is something else. They are not us anymore. They have declared war on the American people. The Secret Service has been unfunded for 72 days. The Department of Homeland Security has been unfunded for 72 days. That's the department that protects our president and protects the members of the cabinet, as well as the American people who are in harm's way when they are in the presence of these people. But that is their job, right? To be with the people, to serve the people, to see the people and interact with them. And it puts us at risk. Democrats are willing to put the average American at risk, even themselves at risk, for a chance at this assassination. They're willing to do that. They've lost the plot. And any of those people in the mainstream media who are still blaming Trump and still calling him a fascist today, those people are hopeless, and they deserve no comfort and no kindness. I mean, you can treat them how you want, but I have no intention of pretending that we're talking to reasonable people. They are not reasonable. The best you can do for them is just to tell them the truth. No, I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove to you, actually. Here's one. I'm going to play a clip from a man who used to be thought of as one of the most reasonable men in Democrat politics. Good at his job, ushered in the Clinton era, really had some sensible words, if not harsh words, for Kamala and her campaign and Democrats. This is James Carville. Let's go to number 2. James Carville, popular Democrat strategist. You got me, number 2. And this is him talking, I think just a few days ago, not that long ago, about Donald Trump. Now Carville has really turned into something else. This has been really difficult for him, but I wouldn't say he's full of rage. He's actually possessed. And I'm going to explain why. All right, just play this.
Clear on this. I do not want that man to die. I want to watch him suffer. And I can't watch a dead person suffer. So I want him to be fully cognizant come November. So when people tell him, I want to be clear on this.
Say it again.
I do not want that man to die. I want to watch him suffer. And I can't watch a dead person suffer. So I want him to be fully cognizant come November. So when people tell him, I want to be clear on this.
Okay, if you think that James Carville means that he just wants Trump to feel bad, I want you to think about what happened to Charlie. I want you to think about what happened in Butler. Corey Comparatori is dead. Somebody died. We talk about it as if Trump, isn't that great? Like Trump just escaped with his life, which he did, but somebody died. Somebody was murdered by that man's bullet. And that you can lay that directly at the feet of the mainstream press. And then another attempt at Mar-a-Lago. an Iranian plot that was foiled, but there are many more out there. And then Friday night, if you think James Carville meant, well, I just hope Trump feels bad. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not advocating for war. I want you to understand this. I'm not advocating for war. I'm not joyous about war. I'm saying war has been declared. The left has declared war. And in fact, they did it many years ago. We were just naive enough to believe that we could reason and love and logic our way out of this situation, that the other side, if they could just see, we're just Americans. We just want the best for our kids. Something has happened. Something has happened to the American left, and they are not us anymore. James Carville that's not James Carville. That's someone else. That's a demon. Even his face is contorted. He even looks otherworldly. Like there is something possessing him that is far beyond rage. It's like it's the physical manifestation of hate. And think about what he is saying. I want to see Trump suffer. Why? What has Trump done? Why would you say that? What are you asking for? What has he done? He secured the border. I mean, I get if you don't like these things, okay, but these are political maneuvers, right? He hasn't handcuffed children and thrown them into cells, or he hasn't allowed violent criminals to declare themselves women and then place themselves in women's prisons and then rape women and impregnate women. He hasn't done anything like that. He hasn't freed illegal immigrant rapists and killers over and over again so they can rape and kill our daughters. He hasn't done that. Why is he saying that President Trump needs to suffer? Because he won. Because he won and he wasn't supposed to win. That's why. That's what all this is about, everybody. Listen to President Trump when he says, it's not me they're coming for, it's you. I'm just standing in the way. He's not lying. He knows exactly what he's talking about. They're angry with him because he won. And he reminded us of the power that we have as people. And that's dangerous, folks. You're dangerous. We're dangerous. We're the dangerous ones. We're the ones James Carville and all of his buddies hate. It's us, because we are powerful and we do know what we want and we do know how to get it. We do know how to work. We do know how to protect ourselves. We do know how to produce. We do know how to innovate. We do know how to grow our families and support our families. We do know how to educate our children. We do know what to do with our money and our own decision making. We know what to do with our own families. We know what to do with our worship. We know who our God is, and we know what this country is for. And they hate that. It's not Trump. It's that. It's that you know what you want for yourself, and they don't like that. I'm sorry to yell at you, America. It's not your fault. They hate us. Do you understand? And if any of your neighbors still has a hate has no home here sign, you should pay close attention to them. Those are the most hateful ones. Those are literally the ones who would wish you dead and do wish you dead and wouldn't blink an eye. And I know a lot's happened since Charlie died, but it's not been that long. Charlie hasn't been dead that long. His name is still on the lips of some of the most vile people in this country, and they are still saying he deserved it. TPUSA clubs in high schools across this country are still getting attacked. I ran a story on this very show. I'll try to link it in show notes on a TPUSA club here in Orange County at Capel Valley High School, where the teacher aides and the students were being attacked by their own students. For what? Just holding a lunchtime discussion about some of the topics that Charlie covers, including what is a woman. One kid hit a teacher aide in the neck with an object and said, now you're going to go down just like Charlie. And when the school board we actually have a conservative school board, folks. We actually elect, remember I ran for school board and I lost? The next election cycle, we flipped that board. Yay. No, because it doesn't matter if you have a Republican school board. It doesn't matter if they don't do anything. And guess what? They've done nothing. They've done nothing. All of this stuff gets to stand. There's no response for it still. That's murderous, right? A school board that would not panic over that and not ask people to cool it and not make that a big freaking public deal so that everybody knows we're not cool with that, they're part of the problem. They are part of the problem. I'm calling out my school board right now. Capistrano Unified School District in South Orange County, you're part of the problem. If you don't make this a big freaking deal when this happens, you're part of the problem. Charlie hasn't been dead long enough for us to forget how people reacted to that and are still reacting to it. They were happy. And people you know and love were happy and still are. And they still say Charlie deserved it. They still say he deserved it. And guess what? They'll say the same thing about you when you get murdered by an assassin's bullet. They'll say the same thing. Maybe the best they'll say is, well, she was a nice lady. You know, nobody deserves to get killed. Nobody deserves political violence, but there's always a but. Democrat butts are going to kill us all. They've lost the plot. We can't trust them. Everybody, I don't care what you think about the details of Iran or the details of whatever. If you don't go into the midterms with the idea of completely defeating the Democrats at the ballot box, you're part of the problem too. We don't have time to fuss around about, Trump's not MAGA enough, or he's too MAGA. I'm not going to vote in the midterms. No, forget that. No, we cannot let these people win. They hate you. They hate you. They will cheer when you're dead. There's nothing in their rhetoric. There's absolutely nothing in their rhetoric that says they don't hate you. There's nothing in their rhetoric that says there is some room for reason here. Nothing. Everything they say adds up to Trump is a racist and a bully and a bigot and a rapist and a pedophile. Non-stop. What do you expect? And now some Democrats are they're just so stupid. Now the line is, well, it was staged. It was not staged. You read that manifesto. Honest to God, get over yourselves. All right, let's do some more proof. Every Democrats, this is your people. Let's go to number 3. Let's play Jimmy Kimmel's little joke he made the other day. Jimmy Kimmel. I can't wait for his weepy apology. All right, here's Jimmy Kimmel doing a pretend White House correspondent hosting duties because the Trump administration said, "Hey, we'll send the president, but we don't want a comedian host because you can't trust those guys and they're dumb shits." So, excuse my language. All right, go ahead.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Imagine Jimmy Kimmel. Imagine any right-wing, forget Jimmy Kimmel, right-wing personality, comedian, news host saying that about Jill Biden or Michelle Obama. Imagine. I mean, they took Jimmy Kimmel's employer took him off air for 2 nights and they lost their damn minds over it. So imagine. And don't tell me, well, this is just a joke. He's just a comedian, because the jokes keep happening. The jokes keep becoming real. So at what point do you stop saying this is a joke and you start saying this is a signal? This is a message. Something's been activated on the left. I've thought that since Comey, since they picked Comey up to talk to him about that 86-47 thing. Funny formation he found in the seashells at the beach. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, even still, if that was just a silly little thing and it just means like get rid of 47. But you know what? The FBI did have to investigate that because people get activated. Cells get activated. This is how you activate networks. There's a code that goes out, there's a signal that goes out. And now we have the internet and it's so easy to send those things out. You have to investigate that for what it could be. It could be some kind of signal, could be some kind of message to activate groups, activate sleeper cells, or even sleeper individuals. We've hit critical mass with the left in this country and something's been activated. And there are some people who just can't be saved. They can't be saved. They're too far gone and you're under no obligation to save them. I appreciate the president's words after a third attempt on his life in public. Hopefully we can come together. We've all been through this experience together, but you know what? I saw the press conference in that room and they haven't learned and they're not going to learn. They don't want to learn. And they can't because they're too committed now. They're all in. What do you do when you're all in? You can't, a paradigm shift for most people, it's rare. It's rare. If you get one in your life, you're a very special person. If you get multiple paradigm shifts, you're heading for greatness, you know? Paradigm shifts are really important for life-changing moments, but they don't happen to everyone. And you would think that for the left-wing media in that room that this would be a paradigm shift. And the fact that it's not for almost all of them should tell you right where they sit. We're not going to fix the mainstream media. We just have to defeat it, right? We just have to make it irrelevant. We're not going to fix the Democrats. We just have to defeat them, right? We just have to make sure that they don't win at the ballot box. And the way that they're fighting, you can tell that the only thing that is helping them win at the ballot box is cheating. And that's why they're fighting this hard. I said this last week. And one of those clips went viral, but I said this last week. Democrats are in survival mode. That's why they're willing to kill for this. This is their very survival. This is why they're willing to kill over voter ID. This is why they're willing to lie about Donald Trump. This is why they're willing to besmirch his name. This is why they're willing to encourage the crazies among them to murder President Trump and anyone in his cabinet. This is why they are in survival mode. If we get some kind of federal ID and that sticks, that's it. And you heard Carville say last week, maybe you didn't, but he did say, I think it might have been in this same rant that we played. When Democrats get power back again, we'll need to make sure that Republicans never recover, that they never win again. What is that? Then that's not a two-party system. That's fascism. They're just projecting. I'm telling you, the Democrat Party, the way it stands now, we cannot let them win again. We cannot. They need to go into their corner and learn how to behave like real Americans again. And that's not me saying, when they say that, they mean prison, insane asylums. They're going to reopen the insane asylums and put us all back in there. Re-education camps, all that's what they mean. What we mean is just like, no, you don't get any power here, right? We're going to make sure that your ideas are loud and clear. And that's all we want on the right, Democrats. That's all we want. We want for your ideas to be put in the public square honestly and openly. And we want to be able to discuss them honestly and openly. And that's all we want. It's all we're asking for. We don't want any censorship. We want consequences for your bad ideas. That's why FLOTUS is out there today calling on Jimmy Kimmel's firing. Let's go to that real quick. That is... Oh, I didn't put it up there. Sorry. My bad. Well, FLOTUS is out there today calling for, somebody to do something about Jimmy Kimmel. He should be fired. He should lose his job. And of course, Potato Head, Brian Stelter over at CNN and the rest of the usual suspects who never learn and aren't going to learn, even if they were the ones in front of the bullet, they're never going to learn. They're out there going, oh, here we go. See, we want to turn down the heat. Oh, thank you. There, we want to turn down the heat Flotus says, Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country. His monologue and my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and it deepens the political sickness within America. People like Jimmy Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. A coward. Jim Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows his network will keep running cover to protect him. Enough is enough. It is time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community? And of course, potato heads out there saying, "Oh no, see, we say take the heat down, and here's the Trumps calling for censorship." No, you frickin' moron! You absolute demon! You know that's not true. You're again, you just want to be part of the problem. You like the problem. You're sad that the problem isn't being solved. You like the problem. And that you are the problem. You are the traitor, Stelter. Why would we allow, why should we? You would never allow anybody to get on air every night and say, you know what? Someone should kill Brian Stelter. Wouldn't it be so funny if he died? His wife would be so sad. Yes, he's married. Someone married him. His wife would be so sad if he died. Oh, it's just a joke. But someone should put a bullet in Brian Stelter's brain. Oh, it's just a joke. If someone got on national TV and said that every night, you would say, hey, that's a bit irresponsible. Maybe that person shouldn't be working on national television or working in your doctor's office or working at your child's school. You're not saying that person doesn't have a right to say it. You're just saying maybe they shouldn't be working in public service, in a public position. They don't want to learn. They're not going to learn because they don't want to learn. They know exactly what they're saying. They know exactly what they're advocating for. Brian Stelter does. All those people at the dinner last night or on Friday night did. They know exactly what they mean. They know it exactly. They're not, there's no secret here. If you're wondering why it keeps happening, it's because they want it to keep happening. Okay? It's war. I know that it is a distasteful thing to think about, and you think that just by saying the word that you're condoning it or that you're participating in it. No, I don't want it to be war. You don't want it to be war. President Trump doesn't want it to be war. We want a United States of America. The left has made it war because, as I just told you and have spent an hour now telling you, Democrats are in survival mode. They're dying. And these are their death throes, and they're going to take us down with you. This lives in my head rent free for years, maybe for 15, maybe 20 years. I've had that. I was watching a show. I think it was on A&E. It used to be on A&E because I Survived. Remember those kind of shows? And it would be about the life and death stories. People, trapped on the side of a mountain or involved in a plane crash. And there was this one story. It was some people who were involved in a boat sinking in the middle of the ocean. It was a small vessel. There weren't many. There was only 3 of them survived. It was a man and 2 women, and they floated at sea, but I think for like weeks. It was a torturous. Like, I won't torture you with the details of this hellish survival. But in the end, they were quite sick, and one of the women was dying. And I will never forget this. They probably wouldn't even air this these days. But the gentleman and other women did end up surviving. But the gentleman said, even though she was starving to death, dehydrated to death, definitely in pain, and there was nothing we could do for her, she was just dying. She could do nothing but scream at us. And she said the most horrible things. He said, she said things that I can't ever repeat. But one of the things she said was like, I hate you. And she kept saying that over and over again to us. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. And that's what she died with on her lips. And he said that was so torturous to hear. It was almost as bad as the starvation. And he said it was otherworldly. She was so vicious. And it wasn't until he survived and came back, was able to process it all and process it with, counselors and mentors, that he found out that that's what they call the death throes. That's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for certain people to experience that if they die with hate. They die either in hateful situations or hate in their hearts, because what they are expressing the desperation of their situation and the hatred for the world that can't help them. And now it's yours to think about too. I probably think about that once a week for 20 years. That has lived in my brain. That's Democrats. That dying woman in that boat. They know they're starving to death. They know they're dehydrating to death. They know they are on their death is waiting for them. They're probably staring at it right now and can see it. And they're going, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. They hate the world that can't help them and won't help them. That's the Democrat Party. They are lost. Do not try to save them. They got to save themselves. The only way to save them is for them to turn to Christ. That's really what we should be focusing on. Winning at the ballot box and revival in this nation. Revival will be the final key to all of this. All right. I want to go to some California news before we take off. Let's go to number 5. This is actually very serious to me. Orange County Board of Supervisors here in Orange County. You have a board of supervisors or some kind of county board in your area. Here in Orange County, it is the Orange County Board of Supervisors. Used to be conservative, used to be Republican. And in 22, the blue wave, the blue trickle that we experienced, it hit Orange County. And we had a split race, and the board flipped. And one of the flips on that board is a woman named Katrina Foley. She's an awful, awful person. I think she's an awful person, but she's definitely an awful legislator. And she's not supposed to be there. She only got it because we have this jungle primary. Again, they do this to us on purpose. And the Republicans couldn't get it together and split that vote. And so she got it. She's not supposed to be there. All right. This is supposed to be a Republican board. And we're working to get her out. This month, Katrina Foley and her Democrat cohorts on the board decided to recognize the Islamic holy month of Eid, or whatever they call it, whatever the hell they call it. Eid. That's the month where they all starve themselves. I don't know, whatever. They starve themselves during the day, or they fast, or whatever. I don't know, and I don't freaking care. It's a devil's holiday. It's a devil's holiday, and we should not be recognizing it. There are now thank you. You can leave when you're ready on that one. But there are 80 mosques in Orange County right now. Now, when you think of Orange County, what do you think of? You think about a lot of white folks. You think a lot about a lot of evangelical churches. We're the county of mega churches and Saddleback. They've done nothing to hold back this Islamic threat. Mosques in Orange County. How on earth do we have enough Muslims in Orange County for 80 mosques? Islam is not native to America, and it's certainly not native to California, and is not native to Orange County. How on earth do we have 80 mosques? Do you hear the call to prayer to where you live? If you hear it, write to me. Drop it in the comments. And then go show up at a city council meeting, by the way. Don't just pretend like, well, we just have to put up with it. No, my friends, you don't. You don't. And as a matter of fact, if you do put up with it, our fate is going to be what President Trump's fate was meant to be. Because that's what this is. This is a caliphate. It's all the same thing. It's the red, green alliance. It's all the same people. It's all the same things. And by the way, the Islamic group that supported this resolution and demanded it from the Orange County Board of Supervisors is supported and tied to CARE, the Council of Arabic Islamic Relations, CARE, which has been declared a terrorist organization. Orange County Board of Supervisors has acknowledged a terrorist holiday in Orange County. Christians, where are you? Where are you? There were people who showed up at that meeting, by the way. God bless you and thank you. I got a text from people saying, hey, we're going to show up. Please show up and say something. So thank you if you did that. But frankly, every pastor should be screaming about this from his pulpit. Islam is not here to be our friends, everybody, and they are not here to coexist. We're going to have to find a way to get rid of these mosques in our community, but we should not be welcoming in any way to Islamic tradition at all. Islamic tradition is conquering tradition. They do not coexist anywhere. They only spread out and infect. Orange County, you should be concerned about this. You should be deeply concerned about this. Churches, if you want to help combat this, if you are in an area where they do an Islamic call to prayer and you have bells, you need to be ringing your bells every time there's a call to prayer. And if you don't have bells, you need to get them installed and ring them every time there's a call to prayer, and then go pray. Because not all of this can be policy related. Some of it can be, but not most of it's going to be spiritual. We're going to have to make sure there's no room for the devil in our society. We're going to have to make sure there's no room for the false God of Allah in our society. And we do that by making sure our society is filled with the Holy Spirit, filled with the name of Jesus Christ everywhere you look. Oh, okay. And I'm going to end with this. You know what? This has been a very serious broadcast. I want to end on a high note because my girl, Kate Sanchez, representing up there in the assembly, in the California Assembly. Kate is someone I knew. The GOP had us paired when I was running for school board and Kate was running for assembly. And I got to know her a little bit because we would do our door knocking together. We would carry each other's literature. It's a great way. By the way, if you're running for a local office and you haven't done this yet, a great way to help expand your reach is to partner with somebody in it running for a different office. And then you don't have to hit all the houses, or you can split your walk events. So, you're both doing, community faster, but you can carry each other's literature. And that's what Kate and I did. And so she won. I lost. I didn't lose. I keep saying I lost, but I didn't lose. I don't think I lost. On paper, I lost. Anyway, Kate's now up in the assembly, and I was going through her feed the other day, and I saw this amazing video she had about a bill she is sponsoring in the California Assembly that has to do with the traffic lights. Let's play this.
At a red light for no reason. AB 2307 is a practical step to make everyday life a little bit easier for you.
Play that again. Sorry.
Do you ever leave work thinking you'll be home in 30 minutes and then hit every red light on the way? It's the absolute worst. And the reality is it's happening more and more. The Inland Empire is one of the fastest growing regions in California. Places in my district like Temecula, Marietta, Wildomar, we're seeing more families move in every day. And that's a good thing. But our roads and our traffic systems haven't kept up. So now we have more cars and more congestion and lights that aren't even timed right, which is why I introduced AB 2307. It's simple. We need our traffic lights to actually work together. When signals are coordinated between local streets and state highways, traffic flows better. You stop less, you move more, and emergency vehicles can get through faster. And yeah, it also means you get home sooner, because this isn't just about traffic. It's about getting time back in your day, time with your family, and not sitting at a red light for no reason. AB 2307 is a practical step to make everyday life a little bit easier for you.
Give this woman a medal. Give this woman a medal. Okay, first of all, it's not going to go anywhere because the whole reason your traffic lights don't line up, California, that's for the environment. That's environmental. And well, that's one part of the reason. The other part is the misery is the point. And this is a left-wing tactic. It is. It's part of the left wing. It's socialism. Comes out of Marxism. But you create misery. And when you create misery, this is why the left-wing media does nothing but call Trump a fascist. You create misery. And then miserable people are angry people. They're easier to control and they're easier to create chaos with. But the misery is the point. But the other point is the environment. They want to make it miserable for you to drive so that you'll get into this mythical public transportation that we have here in Cal. We don't have public transportation that gets anybody anywhere they need to go. But they keep trying to push us into public transportation. And now they're pushing these 15-minute cities. So that's why the traffic lights don't line up. We have a super majority right now. This makes so much sense, Kate Sanchez. This makes so much sense that I have no hope for it in the assembly. But I am here to support you, girl, and I will be up there. Like, this is what will get me up to Sacramento, y'all. This will get me. I'll be the lone mom standing in front of the Capitol with a sign for this bill, Kate Sanchez. If you can push this through, you have my complete and undying support. The traffic light thing, this is why I'm always like, I got a lead foot and I'm always speeding to catch those lights, because if you don't catch one, then you're going to boom, boom, boom. You're going to be knocked down. It's going to be this domino effect. And it does make a drive that should be 10 minutes. It does turn it into 30. And that's really on purpose. The misery is the point. Democrats love to be miserable. Think about it. They love to be miserable. And that's why they hate America. That's why they hate Americans, because Americans love America. And we have a good time here. We love it here. And they hate that. They love to be miserable. They're probably miserable in their relationships. They're probably miserable as parents. They're probably miserable as spouses. They're probably the people that you hate to invite to Thanksgiving dinner or, a celebration. They love to be miserable. And they want to visit that misery on you, because the old adage is true for a reason. Misery loves company. Let's not give them any company. Let's not give them any. Let's be each other's company, America. Let's keep each other company. Let's keep this Constitution company. You know what I'm saying? All right. I think that's it for today. We got a little late of a start today, but that's okay. I don't think anyone's clamoring for an on-time start just now with this show. But as always, I'm so glad that you gave me the opportunity to come and talk to you. If you want to get in on this conversation, as always, hit me up on any of our socials. I'm really easy to find. Send a DM. Let me know what you think. If you listen to this on audio, please give us a 5-star review, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Find more from me at justkiradavis.com. And don't forget to follow The Orange Report at The Orange Report OC everywhere. I'm going to take off for now, and we'll see how the rest of this day goes. Hopefully no more Democrats try to murder us, but we'll see how it goes this Monday. Good luck out there, everybody. Until I see you again, remember that sunlight is the best disinfectant. So bring on the sunshine.